Hey, welcome back to my channel. So I am in St. Martin and I'm quickly getting dressed because I overslept. Literally got out the shower, said I'm gonna close my eyes and I fell asleep for a good hour. So I'm rushing to create a face for you guys so I go out to eat. But anyways, let's start off with the brows. So I'm using the Benefit Brow Pencil in shade 4.5. And again, like always, I'm just lining underneath the eyebrow. And then I kind of do the tail at the very end. I always start off at the very beginning of my eyebrow. And I bring the line all the way down to the end. And then I do the same thing with the top. But I don't go all the way to the front of my eyebrow at the top. I just kind of start up mid-beginning eyebrow at the top, and I just line, and then I do hair-like strokes in the very front of the brow so it does not look boxy. So again, I just line underneath the brow, I line on the top, and then I fill it in with like hair-like stroke with the pencils. And then I take my Morphe brow brush. You see it has that square top, and I'm using of course, Kevin Aucoin in XX13. I'm using that to line underneath the eyebrows. And like I always tell you guys, I never do the top part unless I need to fix something, which is usually the tail part, and I find a concealer shade that's my foundation shade. So I just take that concealer and I bring it down my entire eyelid, and I use that for my base. And once I finish with that, I just buff it in with just a fluffy big size brush that I have. And then after I do that, I take some powder. I'm using the Laura Mercier in shade Honey, and I just take it over the eyelid, basically everything I concealed. And I also go over my eyebrows as well, just so that they're not shiny, and that lasts a little while. Again, I'm not wearing this makeup for a long time because I'm just going out to eat with my husband. Oh, okay, so this is the ColourPop eyeshadow palette. And I just kind of played with some browns tonight. And you see me take that orangey-ish, peachy-ish brown color, and I just take it to the top part of my eyelid. And then you'll see me take a darker brown, and I just take it to the bottom, the base of the eyelid. And I just push it in. And I'm using a wrong brush to do this, because usually I like using a fluffier brush for the top part of my eyelid. But again, I was in a rush and I really wasn't paying attention to what brushes I was using, because that was more of like a packing brush, and I like using like this size brush that you see here. And this is just a darker brown shade, and I'm just pushing it in on the eyelid. And then I just I go back and forth with the two brushes just so that I can blend these two colors in together. So again, I have that burnt orange, that's what it is. It's like a burnt orange eyeshadow color at the top of the eyelid, and then I'm using a dark brown. And you'll see me go back and forth with the brushes just so that they can blend in well. Yeah, that's about it. And then I end up taking, you'll see me get like a shimmery shade. It's called Making Sense. Then you'll see me use my finger. I'll take my finger. There it is right there. I take my finger and I'll just press it on the eyelid, and then I rub it back and forth to the eyelid. It just gave a little shimmer to the eyelid. Again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you are subscribed to my channel, not just watching, but also subscribe so that you can view all my videos. Because like I said, I always tell you guys, I plan on putting out videos at least 2 times a week. So please subscribe so that you can watch and kind of learn with me, makeup and everything else. Okay, so back to the video. So I use the Super Hydrate Moisturizer from e.l.f. and I just moisturized it. I just basically moisturized my entire face. I pushed it in, I rubbed it into the face, my entire face. You have to moisturize your face or you end up with a dry face underneath makeup. And trust me, it does not feel good. And then you see me, I use my same e.l.f. putty, my putty primer, and I put it to my T-zones. And then I also use the e.l.f. Holy Hydration Eye Cream, and I just push that in underneath the eyelids. That helps me with creasing and looking dry underneath the eye from the concealer. And then I'm using the e.l.f. What is this called? The e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, and I just press it in over the entire face just so that my foundation can stick to something. And then on this trip, I just brought tints. So this is one of my tints I brought. This is from Hourglass. This is the Veil Hydrating Skin Tint. And then this is in the shade 16. And I always shake it up in the bottle. I squeeze it on the cheeks, the forehead, and the chin. And I just push it in with that Morphe brush. This is the only time that I use the brush to put foundation on, is when I use skin tints. Just because I don't want the sponge to take up a lot of my products. And you'll just see me kind of like push it in with the brush. I push it in over the entire my face. I go underneath the jawline. I bring it down to my neck because I just want to make sure everything blends in. I mean, this skin tint literally matches my skin perfectly. So honestly, and then it's just such a thin coverage, you really wouldn't be able to tell. Oh, this is the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. And I just set my face after I put the foundation on. But like I was saying, the skin tint matches my skin really well. So you couldn't even wouldn't even be able to tell if I missed a spot. So I'm using the Tarte concealer. And then this is the shade Deep. Shade Deep. I do underneath the eyes. I do the bridge of the nose. I do the forehead and underneath. And on my chin. And then I'm taking my black opal. I think this is in the shade Espresso. And I'm taking that and I do my high cheekbones, underneath my jaw lines, and my forehead. And like I always tell you guys, I don't do a line on the forehead. I just do small dots. And yeah, I'm just taking my Real Technique brush. This is like a small, dense brush. And it helps. I think it works really well when I do my cream contour. So I'm just pushing in the brush into the contour. And then I always push my contour on my forehead into my hairline, so everything blends in really well with the makeup, and you don't see the foundation in between the contour and my hairline. So again, I'm just pushing in that brush over everywhere I cream contour. So I'm bringing it underneath the jaw lines. I'm pushing it on my cheekbones and my forehead. And now I'm taking my Real Technique setting brush, and I have gotten used to using brushes. I used to do sponges over my entire concealer, but I like the brush so much better because it leaves a better coverage. And I know you hear so many people say it and you're like, whatever, I'm still using my sponge, but eventually I did it and I have been stuck using it. Oh, and so I'm using a brighter shade, just kind of in the inner corner. Like I said, I was in a rush, so I didn't have time to do a lot of stuff that I wanted to. But this is a highlighter Tarte shape in Tan Deep Sand. And I just take it to the inner corner, and I let that sit there for a while I'm blending in the other areas. But like I said, I always do my chin first, underneath the nose, and then I do the edges underneath the eyes, and then you'll see me pull out my sponge, and I just push in that concealer on the nose. And I like using the sponge because it doesn't flatten out that concealer on the nose and make it wider. It kind of keeps that skinny line there. And then I am just using the brush and the sponge on the forehead, and then you'll see me go back with my contour brush, and then I will blend in the areas where I put the contour, just so that it doesn't leave a line of demarcation. And then I always go back and use my sponge underneath the eyes. I don't use the brush because I don't feel like it blends it in as well as I wanted to underneath the eyes. So I use my sponge just for underneath the eyes. If y'all only knew my setup, I was using some stuff to hold the phone, and baby, obviously you saw it fail. But I was making whatever worked so that I can create this video for you guys. But anyway, so I am using my sponge and I am pushing my concealer in, and I try to leave that bright shade where I placed it. I don't want to move that bright shade around. And this is the contour brush that I was saying I don't have any extra product on, and I am just pushing that in with the concealer so that it blends in well together. So this is me using my sponge just to make sure I get rid of any creases underneath the eyes. So I take let me see, what do I do? Oh, okay, I use a triangle puff, and I'm doing a Laura Mercier in Honey, and I go directly on the concealer, and I press it into the concealer, and I'm just pushing it in. I'm not swiping, I'm pushing. I'm basically patting. Let me say patting. I'm patting that Laura Mercier powder into the concealer. So everywhere I concealed, I'm going to take that Laura Mercier powder and I'm going to press that powder on the concealer. So underneath the chin, underneath the nose, the bridge of the nose, and the forehead. Okay, so I am going to take my Laura Mercier and honey, and I'm just going to bake on the bridge of the nose. It's the only area that I bake is on top of the nose. And I'm taking the Fenty bronzer in Mocha Mommy, and I'm just placing this bronzer powder over the cream contour that we applied earlier with that black opal stick. And you'll just see me take it above the cheekbones, and with the bronzers I kind of go higher on my cheekbones. So I do the high points of my cheekbones, I do my forehead, and I can't remember if I go underneath the jawline with this one as well, but I basically go over everything I contoured. And I really like this bronzer because it warms up the face and it just kind of gives that sun-kissed look, as you can see. And I normally do not take this bronzer and contour my nose with, but I didn't bring my black opal powder that I normally do. So I just take a slight amount on my angled fluffy brush that I always use on my nose, and I just contour the sides of the nose. I take it from the tip of the what do you want to call it? The front of my eyebrows, and I bring it down to the tip of the nose, and I just let everything connect. And now I am taking the same, what is that? The same Laura Mercier setting powder or loose powder, and I take it over the edge of the nose, or just to kind of give that structure of the nose a better snatch look. And I feel like I need a little bit more contour, so I take my Pat McGrath in Mahogany, and I just go underneath the bronzer. I take this and just apply it underneath the bronzer, just to kind of give that more sculpted look. So I have a sculpted look from the contour powder, and I have that bronzer sun-kissed from the Fenty. And this is again that same loose setting powder from Laura Mercier. And I'm just sorry about the noise in the background. I'm sitting on the porch of my of the hotel resort, and they are moving out there. But anyways, I take that loose setting powder, and I just put a line underneath the jawline. This just kind of gives that sharp look with the contour and that Fenty bronzer. And I don't never leave that line on a long time because I don't like to keep that harsh line. I mean, it can be blended out, but it just takes so much work. So I just, as soon as I create that line with that loose setting powder, I take my foundation, what is this, powder from Elf Camo in 425. Excuse my husband, he's coming to bother me, y'all. And I just wipe away that harsh line from the loose setting powder. And I want to take my small setting powder brush that I used earlier, and I'm just wiping away the bake that I applied. I don't have anything extra on the brush. I just wiped away that loose powder. My husband missed the kids, so he had to FaceTime them on the first night. So excuse us, y'all. Okay, so now I'm applying the Charlotte Tilbury in shade number 2, and I just press that setting powder, the setting powder brush into that Charlotte Tilbury, and I just push in that loose setting powder. I'm just pushing it in with the brush. And now I'm taking the Juvia's Place blush palette in volume 5, and I use the top shade. As you saw, I didn't do a liquid blush because I was in a rush. Hey, that rhymed. But anyways, I take that Juvia's Place palette, and I only use the top palette, and I use my fluffy brush, and I just pat a little bit on the upper part of my cheekbone, so right above where we applied that Fenty bronzer. And then this is the One Size Stay On Till Dawn setting spray. It works like a charm. Let me tell you, it keeps the makeup on. But baby, if I have mascara on before applying that spray, I always have mascara everywhere on my face. I don't know if I showed it on this video. I don't know if you can even see it, but I basically have a whole line of mascara on my face from the spray. So I tend to try to use that spray before I apply mascara. Okay, so on to the lips. I line the lips with the Morphe and Trendsetter, and then I love this. Do I have it with me to even tell you the name of it? I don't even know the name of it, but this is the Dose of Color Duo lip. It's like a pinkish nude color, which I love the color. And then they give you this like this iridescent, beautiful pink, clear-ish color lip gloss that I just apply. And I learned that because I use this is the only product I use on me. So when I use that clear gloss, after I use it, you know, you have some of that lipstick or the liner on the brush. So I wipe it off with a towel, and then I apply it back in the gloss so it doesn't change the color of the gloss. But anyways, I use the dual glue. I always use that clear dual glue, and I apply it to the brim of the eyelash, and then I apply the eyelash. And this is the look, baby. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it was fast at the end, but this is the final look. I love the look. It came out really pretty, especially with me rushing. And I didn't record, but the inner corner, I take that same brown palette and I just do like what shade is it? Copperhead.